All right, all right. Happy Thursday, everyone. Nick at night. Nick Marro DFS here with Jayhawk and Occupy Fantasy. As always, helping you break down tonight's NBA DFS main slates on both DraftKings and FanDuel. We got an 8-game slate tonight on both sites. A lot of guys are already ruled out. We got my Nets on the slate. Lots of value to go around. Some names and trade rumors. I mean, a lot to break down today, Jayhawk. How you feel about the slate going in here?
Yeah, looks like a real fun one. We got Revenge Narratives. We got your Nets to talk about. Very excited to break this one down.
Yeah, the only show in the industry excited for the Nets for sure. We got Ben here saying many guys out today. Agreed. HB Cards, appreciate you, my man. We got Luke, Heath. Luke saying he's Sengun's going to be the big guy if he plays. ATL has no starting bigs. Yeah, we were talking about Guye before. We went live. Unicorn here today, right on time. Appreciate you, my man. To play or not to play SGA. Yeah, there's a lot of payups on this slate. Not many of them drawing much ownership though, so that's going to be a talking point for sure. Amarek, appreciate you being here as well, my man. How we feeling about Ubre? We always like to talk about this stuff game by game, man. But initially, I don't love it. Ubre, he's kind of a neutral play to me. Paul George coming off the game of his life is he questionable? If George was out, I wouldn't mind it, but not crazy about him going in. Thoughts on Ubre?
Yeah, I think he's just okay. I agree. I think if Paul George misses, he'd look a lot better.
Yeah, George turned back the clock last time. That's the second game we're going to talk about today. First game we're going to talk about today is the Bucks. No Giannis, obviously, taking on the Wizards. 222.5 point total. One of the more appealing games on the slate, considering everyone out for Milwaukee. Giannis may have played his last game as a Buck. End of an era there. We'll see if they can get a trade done or not. That's a conversation for another day. But first, yeah, no Giannis. His brother's out as well. Cole Anthony's going to be questionable. No Kevin Porter Jr. That's going to be significant here. Ryan Rollins, as chalk last game, he was worth it. I mean, he got there, played 30 minutes, only a 21% usage rate, which was a little bit low for me. But to see him still getting there, obviously a good thing. Hitting the boards, getting to the free throw line, doing it all. I actually think is an even higher ceiling than what he showed us last game. I think that usage rate could come up. He looks like good chalk to me. Bobby Portis sliding into the starting lineup. The price is up on him now, but he's been excellent. Earlier in the year when Giannis was out, wasn't really getting there. He's back to the Bobby Portis we know and love. Whenever Giannis is out, you kind of just play Bobby. With the price increase, it is a bit of a conversation, but I do think you can mix him in. Miles Turner probably pissed that he went to Milwaukee now. But yeah, I mean, he's been playing really well in the absence of Giannis. Coming off good games against Denver and Philly, an even better matchup for him here. Those three look excellent. Kuzma's drawing ownership as well. I just never get to him. He is coming off an awesome game. He took up some of that usage that I think we're going to see go to Rollins, but he's reasonably priced. You can mix him in. I think all four of those guys look good. Cole Anthony's questionable. If he's in, you could use him as a pump value play. Just game theory talking here. We usually don't like to lock in too much value early if we're waiting on news. So I'd probably avoid the Cole Anthonys of the world. But those four, Rollins, Portis, Turner, Kuzma, probably in that order, all very appealing, all very popular as well, though, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Bucks here against the Wiz?
Yeah, great spire for Milwaukee. Starting with Rollins, I think he looks awesome. Both sides, one of the best plays on the entire slate. And then I think both Portis and Turner look amazing as well. Getting to a bunch of both those guys. So those are my top three. And then I'm with you. I didn't get very much Kuzma last game. Kind of burned me, but probably going to run it back here, get less of Kuzma, more of the rest of the three. And then I did want to shout out AJ Green. I don't know if I'll get too much, but very good matchup, I think, for shooters as well. So maybe a sprinkle of AJ Green for me as well.
Yeah, especially if Cole Anthony's out. I know they play a different position. Green very reliant on those threes falling.
Yeah.
Just a 9.5% usage last game. Still almost got 20 fantasy points. If he starts, you can mix him in. It's certainly a play worth considering. Over on the Wizards side of things, obviously no Trey Young, still working his way back from injury since that trade. No Tristan Vukcevic or Marvin Bagley. Normally I wouldn't even mention them, but Alexandre Sarr is questionable. So if Sarr's out, are we going to see Anthony Gill or Scalabassier starting at center? Is it going to be Champagne at the five? I don't really think they could play a ton of small ball here against Portis and Turner, so it's going to be interesting. I think Sar is in. Shouts out to the chat. We got Amarick here saying Sar game. Yeah, if he's in, man, he's been excellent. One of the only good draft picks from that draft class where Ricochet went number one a few years ago. But yeah, if he's in, he looks good, reasonably priced. Not owned enough, in my opinion. Again, the QTAB probably keeping that ownership down. Has forward eligibility over on FanDuel. Kaishan George playing really well lately. price is up on him. Still happy to get there. My man Trey Johnson finally getting the minutes. Love it. Starting as well, even with this team healthy, over Bub Carrington. So Trey Johnson, as expected, kind of played his way into the starting lineup. Really impressive to see. And speaking of revenge, I mean, it is at home, so it's not really a revenge spot. But Middleton coming off his best game of the year, you can make a case for him as the starter. Koulibaly here as well. I mean, the Wizards, it's tough to pick amongst them, but I think they all look pretty good. If Sar's out, we're going to have to really talk about who ends up starting at the 5. I think he's going to play, though. But assuming he plays, still like this team a lot. I'm getting to the most Trey Johnson because of the price. But you can make a case for all of the starters here, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Wizards?
Yeah, I think all these guys look pretty solid. I don't have one that I love. I will say I think the guards here look the best against Milwaukee. Kai Sean and Trey Johnson. I like those guys the most here. I think Sar is still fine. A lot better matchup last game. I think against Turner and Portis here, a little bit tougher of a matchup. So give me the guards here, Kai Sean, Trey Johnson. And then I'm fine with Middleton as well in tournaments.
Yep, definitely a good game to target. Just keep an eye on lineups, obviously. Still waiting on that Wizards news, but it is one of the games that locks at 7 p.m. Eastern, so we will definitely have those lineups before things go live. Next game here, we got some questions on this one already. We got the Kings taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. Kings are going to be without Russ. He's out. Malik Monk is questionable. No Keegan Murray. So they're a little bit thin. Dennis Schroeder expected to get the start here at point guard. Decent value play, honestly. We have some good value on the slate, but on DK, 4,800, drawing some ownership. Under-owned, in my opinion, over on FanDuel. Just 7% owned for him at 4,700. Not the best matchup, honestly, but at the same time, increased usage and minutes for him can certainly go a long way. Keegan Murray out here as well could present more usage to guys like DeRozan, Levine, Sabonis. I'm not really interested in any of them in particular. I do think Schroeder makes sense as value, especially if we're not getting more value to open up. But yeah, I don't think you could feel too good about this team in this matchup. Spread's a little bit wide. Total's pretty high, though, 230.5 points. They have been playing a little bit better since Sabonis came back. But yeah, I think Schroeder is the one guy I see myself getting to. Again, I'm more of a single entry player, not really playing 150 lineups night to night. So it's tough for me to get to the Kings here, Jayhawk. How do you feel about this team here on the road?
Yeah, pretty much with you here. I think Schroeder, the top play here from Sacramento. Yeah, good price point, good matchup. So I'm fine with Schroeder. And then I did want to point out, I don't even know if I'll get there, but Nick Clifford, once again, if Monk misses here, maybe we can get to a little bit of him at his price as well. But only if Monk misses there. So I just wanted to shout him out.
Yeah, one more guy on the bench I'll shout out is Dylan Cardwell. Defense first. This guy's usage is maybe the lowest in the league for anyone getting minutes, floating around 6 to 7%. But he's still hitting value consistently. If you're desperate for value and you're over on DK where you could play two centers, and you are playing a bunch of lineups, I don't think mixing in Cardwell is a bad idea. It does seem like he is going to be a part of the rotation moving forward. One of the only guys on that team playing good defense. So slipped ahead of Raynaud on that depth chart, but not a priority, certainly. Let's take a quick look at chat here so we don't fall too far behind. Appreciate Derek Wilson being here, saying what's up. We will answer the Oubre question here in just a minute. Rockets saying MPJ narrative. Yeah, Jayhawk was on that one. We talked about it a little bit. We'll definitely dive deep into that Nets game. Sino, appreciate you being here. Kuzma, Portis, Roland stack. You can do it, Unicorn. I mean, they are a little bit more expensive than last time, but still very, very good options here. Portis better behave and not get ejected and take your lineups again. Yeah, he is a hothead, not to the point of a Dylan Brooks, but he's one of those guys you got to keep an eye on. Kuzma up and down. I do think he's the most volatile of that group. We just talked about George from Washington. We like him. And yes, Calabassier, the Haitian sensation, still in the league. And let's get it, fellas. Embiid can jump again. I'm going to stop here in chat and use this as a segue into the Philadelphia 76ers, where Embiid is probable. We also have Paul George, probable. Quentin Grimes is going to be questionable. Oubre available. A few other guys, G Leaguers, Charles Bassey out. Nothing really that matters. Embiid's been playing great. The minutes are up. It seems like he's healthy. Not nearly as popular as I think he should be, if we're being completely honest. Sub 10K on both sites. Great matchup for him, even with Sabonis back in here. I think Embiid is one of the better tournament plays on the slate. Maxey has not been himself lately. I'm having trouble getting up to him. If you're playing 150 lineups, don't mind mixing him in. But tough to call him a priority. And it would be a little bit chasey if you're jamming in Paul George tonight, but it has to be said. 30% usage, 53 fantasy points at 32 minutes last time out. Really, really good game he had against Milwaukee. Don't mind going back to him there. You can mix in Edgecombe, Oubre. I'm pretty neutral on them, though. Really not prioritizing either. I will say if Grimes is out, I'd feel better about those two. But Embiid is the guy here for me from the Sixers. Paul George would be second. Don't know that I'm really calling either like a core play, but those two look good on paper. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Sixers here at home?
Yep, really love Embiid here in the spot. Just been picking on the Sacramento front court all year. Should be lower owned. He was nuking Nick in the last game, and then Paul George took over in the second half. So hoping we get a little bit of ownership discount there with Embiid. And then in terms of Paul George, I think he's solid. I think the field might overreact a little bit too much after the last game, but I think he's still fine. And then yeah, Tyrese Maxey, man, he has been very much a letdown the past few games. Just not getting there tonight. I think we have better guard plays. So it's mainly just Embiid and a little bit of George here for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Like, the Sixers are playing better at the expense of Maxi's fantasy production, like George and Embiid getting more involved, obviously. But we're playing fantasy here. We're not playing NBA basketball. So, yeah, I'm low on Maxi, with you on Embiid. Don't mind a little bit of George. Let's go ahead and get into the 8 o'clock window now. First game then, we have the Houston Rockets taking on the Atlanta Hawks. I know we had a comment here about Sengun. Steven Adams is out, no Tari Eason or Dorian Finney-Smith. Sengun himself is questionable, so we need to keep an eye on this. I do think they could rest him here, honestly, on a back-to-back. Like, you're playing the Hawks. The Hawks are missing some key pieces. They're pretty big favorites here on the road. But at the same time, I don't really have a strong lean whether he plays or not. If he's in, he's good. If he's out, it's going to boost guys like Durant, Thompson, and Jabari Smith. We already know that Eason's going to be out. Reed Shepard, I mean, he's so cheap that he's pretty appealing here. I mean, he's been so inconsistent in both the minutes and the fantasy production, though I don't feel great about it. Again, even if Sengun's out, just because Okogie's been starting over him. But yeah, if there was ever a spot where maybe he could hit that ceiling, it might be here. I just think he's a little bit overowned. But yeah, we need to wait on the Sengun news. If he's out, we got another revenge narrative. Clint Capella in Atlanta could be a thing here tonight. Definitely keep an eye on the news. Wouldn't mind getting to some Clint if he does slide in the starting lineup. I'm guessing Sengun plays, though, but a spot to keep an eye on, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Rockets here in ATL?
Yeah, very big news there with Sengun here. I think he probably just plays. I know it's a back-to-back, but he's been kind of a gamer when it comes to back-to-back. So assuming he does play. And then in terms of Reed Shepard, I love him here both sides. I haven't been as high on him, but good price point, good matchup, potentially no Sengun. So I love him. And then after that, did want to ask you about KD. He looks okay both sides. Not a guy I love getting to, but he would look better without Sengun. So what are your thoughts there?
I mean, KD is like the floor play for this team. I think he's going to get you 45 to 50 most nights. It's tough for him to win you a tournament, but if you lock in those 50 points and a lot of the other payups are struggling, he's a pretty good option. He's been consistent. The thing we know about KD is he's going to play as many minutes as anyone in the league, which is always a good thing. The usage is there. So, yeah, if Sengun's in or out, I don't mind getting to KD. I do prefer him over Sengun, even though the model has Sengun higher. It is going to be a tremendous matchup for Sengun, though. Yeah, we'll talk about Atlanta now and why that is the case. But I don't mind it. But we're going to keep an eye on the lineups here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, moving over to the Hawks. So Ricochet and Porzingis, who have been out, are still out. Jalen Johnson's out tonight, which is unfortunate. No Onyeka Okongwu either. This team is extremely thin. And they're in a tough matchup here at home against the Rockets. So even when you're looking at some of these plays, just keep in mind there is a little bit of blowout risk. I honestly think the spread is a little bit tight. Like, I would take the Rockets here personally. But we got Alexander Walker, Daniels, McCollum. All going to see increased usage. I still think we see CJ come off the bench. But the backcourt rotation is what it was. No real major changes there. But Mohamed Gouye projected to start some places at the 4, some places at the 5. I think either way, he's cheap enough that you can play him. But seeing that he's like 50% owned, I mean, I don't know that he's going to totally kill you if you don't, especially if Sengun's in. This is not a great matchup against the Rockets. But at the same time, man, I just never get this guy right. When he starts, you got to play him. He's so cheap. The minutes should be there, but he's certainly capable of putting up a dud. The interesting pivot would, I guess, be Koloko. He could start at the 5 next to Gouye, especially if Sengun is available. Houston, the biggest team in the NBA, 1 through 5, but don't feel great about that either. But Gouye, I mean, kind of a necessary evil. If you're playing low-risk contests or cash games, probably just get him in there. But if this game stays close, it's going to be more CJ, Daniels, Nah, don't mind them. Really don't love the matchup though. Again, 8 game slate. We got other options. How do you feel about this team, and are you with the field on Mohammed here?
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think Mohammed Koué, I can't even say it, Nick. I'm butchering it, but I think he's fine for low risk. I'm kind of with you. I'm a little bit more hesitant to fire him up heavy in high risk contests. So more of a low risk play for me. I think he's pretty solid. And then after that, like I think Null and Dyson are both fine to take stabs at. I do prefer Dyson just barely at their prices. So give me Dyson there. Then after that, like I think you could maybe get to Koloko as a pivot, but I don't love it. So it's mainly just the guards plus Moge for me.
Yeah, and again, I'm a little bit surprised that this spread is so close. Maybe that tells us Sengun's going to sit though, so keep an eye on that. Again, major revenge spot for Clint Capella. Capella to me would be the pivot off of Moguy. I'd much rather play him.
I agree.
All right, let's take a quick look at chat. Cal asking him if Sar is playing. Still questionable. We're going to have that soon. Luke bringing up the matchup here. Rollins is going to get Koulibaly fading him, but that's just me. I mean, they are going to set screens for him. He's going to be running the pick and roll with Turner. I don't know that Koulibaly could slow that down, but hey, if you could ever find a reason to poke holes in chalk, it's not a bad idea, Luke. Don't mind it. We'll talk about Edwards in a bit, Greg, when we get to that game. Could certainly show up. He's had some big ones lately. Cal, taking a page out of Power's book with the fun here, playing Clifford's like falling off a cliff. We will rank the cheap punt plays at the end, Jose, if you could just remind me when we're doing the dummy bill. Not that many high OF index. It's true. I was looking at this earlier. Highest is 14. Like we see up to 20 at times. And yeah, just none of them are that popular. So for such a big slate, it does feel like living in the mid range might be the way to go. Maybe you can get away from some of that really cheap value. Speaking of cheap value, Unicorn bringing up Kispert, scoring dependent. I don't hate it. If the game stays close, he might be a reason for it. I'm not crazy about it. Guye Hooray from Drones. He's got one fan in here. And shouts out to Cars, keeping us honest with the news. We got Sar in, which is significant. I think he's a good play. And Cole Anthony is going to be in as well. If you're not playing Rollins, maybe you can pivot to that. And yeah, Power here. Appreciating the puns. But yeah, I mean, the more the merrier, guys. We all got room for a little bit of humor, especially when we're breaking down guys like Mo Guye. Moving into the next game on the slate now, we have Miami taking on Chicago. The Heat on the road, 239.5 point total, one of the higher totals on the board. And they are slight favorites here. They're going to be without Tyler Hero, though. No Davion Mitchell either. Obviously, no Terry Rozier. Khalil Ware is back. He's probable, as is Andrew Wiggins. Norm Powell, who was on the injury reports, listed as probable here as well. So I don't mind Powell. I don't mind Wiggins. This is a good spot for Bam. I think you could feel good about all three of those guys at the same time. I don't know that any is like far too cheap to the point where I'd be calling them a core play. Pele Larson going to get the start, but his price is up to a point now where I don't feel great about it. On FanDuel 4600, more of a conversation. I think there's other value in that range I prefer. Gasparis Jakunis is probably going to be the starting point guard, but if you're playing a point guard here, it's either Drew Smith or Jaime Jaquez for me. Drew Smith not going to play as many minutes, but he's much better points per minute than KJ. Jaquez can play any position, but he's priced up. So yeah, I don't mind Drew Smith. If you're looking for a pivot off of some of the chalkier value, again, make a case for Bam, Powell, Wiggins, if you will. Powell is the one I tend to get to the most just because he has guard and forward eligibility. But it is a good matchup for the Heat, Jayhawk. Are there any plays here you will be prioritizing?
Yeah, so you mentioned Bam Adebayo. I think that's probably the guy for me tonight. Very soft matchup here for Bam. So really like Bam in tournaments. And then after that, Drew Smith is a guy I like targeting when he's low owned. Kind of fits that mold tonight. Super low owned. I like getting there in tournaments. And then Norm Powell, pretty low owned, high game total. I'm fine mixing him in as well. I'm not getting to anyone else here after those three though.
Yeah, I'm looking at Bam right now, and I think I maybe undersold him a bit. He is shooting threes a lot lately. 5+ attempts in 9 games in a row. He's taken at least 5 threes. I think Spo told him, "Hey man, Hero's going to be out for a while. You're going to be the offense," and it's showed up in the results. So, gonna backtrack what I said. I actually do prefer Bam over Powell if I am taking a Miami Heat player here. He has forward eligibility on FanDuel, which is appealing. You could play two centers on DK, so you can get to him over there as well. But really, really good spot for him. And again, on a slate where we're lacking really high OF index plays, his 11.3 looks pretty damn good. Over on the Chicago side of things, Zach Collins is out We have Josh Giddey questionable on a back-to-back. He did start last night, which is notable. No Trey Jones. Jalen Smith is probable here as well. So Giddey's a tricky situation. I said yesterday off the bench I didn't like him. If he started, I'd have some interest. He played 28 minutes. Are they going to take the training wheels off this rapidly and just throw him into more minutes, throw him into the starting lineup, and play him in a back-to-back? I don't know. If they do, you could play him at his price. I'm not crazy about it though. I do think he could play even less than he did yesterday, which obviously would be difficult for him to get there in terms of value. I think Vooch is okay. Kobe White's fine. Obviously, he'd see a big boost with Giddy out. Buzelis at his price, I was hoping would be lower owned. He'd probably be my favorite bull to get to here. Pretty consistently hitting around 30 fantasy points. A bit underpriced for that type of production. Jalen Smith's been my guy as well. I don't love him on this slate just because he might be coming off the bench. If he's going to start here again, though, I don't mind mixing him in. But again, we need the Giddy news. I kind of think he sits, but it's kind of weird he's not already out. So we got to wait and see. I definitely prefer the Miami side in this one. But Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Bulls?
Yeah, I think kind of like you mentioned, they're all look fine in tournaments. Giddy, if he misses, I think would look the best for guys like White, Vooch, some of these other guys here. So kind of dependent on the news there. But yeah, I'd say Kobe White, Giddy if he plays. Probably the two guys I want to get to. I want to get to more here, Nick. It's not a team I love to target. I know that the game total is high, but we have a lot of good plays today.
Yep. High total, good spot. If Giddy's out, they'll definitely become a little bit more interesting, but more of a spot to keep an eye on than anything else. Moving right along, before we get back to chat, let's knock out one more game here. We got at 8:30 the very hot Charlotte Hornets taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Starting on the Hornets side of things, Brandon Miller probable, no Mason Plumlee, Grant Williams is out, no KJ Simpson. I saw a stat today. When they start Ball next to Canuple, Miller, Bridges, Diabate, they're like 11-2 or something ridiculous. Ball projected to come off the bench here. I don't know why. I think he starts, and if he does, still not paying him at his price. Playing him at his price, only playing around 26 to 28 minutes. But it's a good thing for this team. I think Miller, who's been the most productive, is obviously the easiest play to get here. It is a back-to-back, but this is a great spot for Diabate coming off one of his best games of the year. Looking quickly, I mean, he's been playing back-to-backs. Not really limited on them. I don't know. I have no issues getting to Diabate here. I really like the matchup. I like that he's not going to be popular, just 5,200. Obviously, we have good centers to pay up for. We have a lot of value there. But if you want to get a little bit different in this one, Diabate, as long as he starts, looks really good to me. Miller, Diabate for me, that's probably it. I'm a fan of Khan, just at the price. I'm not really rushing there, Jayhawk. How do you feel about Charlotte?
You spoke it out of my mouth here. It's Brandon Miller and Diabate for me as well. In particular, Diabate. Love the price point, like the matchup. Dallas front court, very depleted right now. And then I mentioned Miller last slide. I think he looks great once again here, sub 12%. Good price point. So, yeah, mainly just those two for me as well.
Yeah, good sign for Miller too. Only played 29 minutes against Memphis. Probably gets 30 plus here. I can say that with some confidence. So he looks really good. Over on the Dallas side of things, kind of an interesting situation. Cisse is going to be questionable. Exum, AD, Kyrie obviously out. Derek Lively out. Najee Marshall's out, which is significant. Clay Thompson's back. He's probable, as is Ryan Nemhard. Brandon Williams is questionable here as well. Cooper Flag's back, though. I'm interested in Flag. I would prefer him starting next to a point guard, though. I would like to see either Nemhard or Williams starting. If Flag is in at the one, I don't feel as good about it. If he's starting at the one, I do think he's fine in tournaments. With Najee Marshall out, we could get to more Max Christie. PJ Washington hasn't quite been himself. He's more expensive. So, again, I think Christie would be the guy I'd be most interested in. And then, yeah, I'm not playing Gafford. We have better cheap centers. We have better expensive centers. Brandon Williams off the bench. He's been solid. I don't think he starts again. I think it would either be Nemhard or Flag, but only 23 minutes yesterday, almost 30 fantasy points. He's been super productive if you need the value. But that's probably it. I mean, Caleb Martin, I'll just shout the name out. He's been starting. He's been super productive. It's like a last piece in. If you're playing Stars and Scrubs tonight, which I don't necessarily recommend, you can maybe get to him. With Clay back, he could lose a few minutes, so just keep that in mind. But again, nothing here I'm really prioritizing. I don't mind Flag. Would prefer him to not start at point guard, though. Max Christie, probably my favorite play here from Dallas if I have to pick one. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Mavericks?
Yeah, so the Mavs here, pretty interesting. Cooper Flag expected back here. I think B will still fine off the bench, sub 5K. Don't love it, don't hate it. And then you mentioned Caleb Martin. I kind of like him a little bit less now with Clay back, but he's still like sub 3%. If you want to take a stab there, it's not a team I love targeting, even with some of these guys back. So yeah, just not a team I love here.
Yeah, and again, Kidd is one of these coaches like Rick Carlisle who likes to really mess up rotations. You can see a different lineup at half than they start with, so I just keep that in mind. But again, we're getting Clay back, but Najee Marshall's out, but we're also getting Flag back. If Williams is out, maybe that creates some upside for some of these other kind of secondary plays. But again, on a team we're really prioritizing regardless. Now we are into the main event, or at least for me. We got the Nets here taking on the Nuggets on the road at 9 p.m. The Nets are resting a few key pieces here tonight. No Igor, no Noah Clowney. Haywood Highsmith is yet to play a game for us. Terrence Mann's available. No Cam Thomas or Zaire Williams. So they're thin. They're missing a few key pieces here. We definitely have to keep an eye on the starting lineup. Most sites have Terrence Mann as the projected one. If he is the starting point guard, he's a really good play at his price, consistently hitting value when he does slide into the starting lineup as the one. I think there's a world where we see Nolan Traore start, though. And if he does, I absolutely love him as a value play. I don't think the ownership's going to get too heavy on him, but definitely a spot to keep an eye on. If you're playing 150 tonight, mix in some Traore. I think even off the bench, he's been tremendously productive when he's out there. He did miss a few games for injury, so there's some risk in the minutes. But his last game he played was that double overtime game against Boston, had almost 35 fantasy points in 36 minutes. Really talented kid. With Igor out, I do think he has a ceiling. Obviously, no Clowney could mean we see our boy Danny Wolf slide into the starting lineup. He's been a bit of a disappointment when he's out there with the starters. The usage is down. He does have a ceiling. Don't mind him as a tournament dart. But the guy we really need to talk about is MPJ. Revenge narrative. Anyone, they shipped him out of town. He's been a beast ever since. Honestly, deserves to be in the All-Star game, in my opinion. He's been really good in matchups that are competitive. In blowouts, he's useless. I think this game could stay competitive. Obviously, Denver are missing a few key pieces here as well, but coming off a game where they played really well against Phoenix, definitely proceed with some caution. Also, obviously, missing a few key pieces, but all the reason to play MPJ here. The one reason I wouldn't is just because he's popular. I think a lot of people see the narrative potential, but at his price, great play. Definitely mix him in. Man, for me, again, if he's at point guard, I like him. Don't mind Traore as a pivot. Claxton, Sharp, I'm not crazy about any of these guys, if I'm being honest, in this matchup. Jayhawk, which Nets are you keying in on?
Yeah, so I think it all starts with MPJ, like you mentioned. Fantastic spend up both sides, revenge narrative. So love MPJ both sides here. And then Terrence Mann, I'm kind of with you. I think he's better at the one. You kind of talked me in on that. And then I did want to kind of mention another guy down here. I did want to hear your thoughts. Tyrese Martin, 3,100, super cheap, could be a pivot potentially. Obviously, Traore, you mentioned. And that's about it. Danny Wolf, I have has a pretty good play, but I don't think he's like a smash play. So what are your thoughts there with Martin?
Yeah, Martin, I'd feel better about if he started, honestly. And I think there's a world, too. Like, I'm sitting here hoping it's Traore. I think there's a world where Martin starts next to Man in the backcourt. They could go a little bit smaller here, have MPJ and Powell with Wolf off the bench. There's a lot of different ways Jordy can go with the starting lineup. I'd say Martin, if he starts, you can still mix him in off the bench. He's going to play his close to 20 minutes, but it's still very risky. He's kind of scoring dependent. But again, if Martin starts, I think that does hurt Man a little bit. But again, he's so damn cheap, probably doesn't matter too much. But I'm with you, man. MPJ is the obvious play here.
Yeah, no Cam Thomas too, man. It's going to be a lot of shots for MPJ here.
Yep, that's obviously significant. Over on the Denver side of things, the reason this game could be competitive is no Aaron Gordon, no Cam Johnson, no Christian Brown, no Nikola Jokic. Murray and Jonas Valanciunas are in, but there's no denying this Denver team is a bit depleted right now. Really low total here as well. I do want to mention that. But Jovel, one of the more popular center plays on the slate. Claxton has been a little bit inconsistent lately. Jovel up to 30 minutes against Detroit, which you obviously love to see. It's been a long time since he's played that many minutes, but probably my favorite play from Denver here. I am shocked that Murray's not more popular. I really don't get it. I think he's as underowned as Embiid, if I'm being honest. One of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. And if you're not getting to Murray, or Jovel, or even if you are getting to Jovel, Peyton Watson has shown a very high ceiling lately. I'll say this. I don't want Watson and Murray in the same lineup. I think having one or the other is very intelligent, though, in tournaments. This is a great matchup for them. Get Jovel, the easiest play to get to. The field's getting there as well, though. Jayhawk, how do you feel about Denver?
Yeah, just starting with Jamal here, kind of coming off a rough game. He couldn't even make free throws in the last game, so that was kind of rough for Jamal. But in terms of Jove out here, I think he's pretty clearly the top play on both sides. Projected sub 30 minutes, decent matchup. So I like him a good chunk here. Then after that, like Peyton Watson, sure you can always get to, but it's mainly just Jove and then the rest of the team I think is tough to get to. So it's just Jove out here mainly for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jovel's the obvious one. Again, I do think Murray's underowned compared to some of the other guard plays. We're about to talk about a couple of them, but yeah, should be an interesting game. But again, 209.5 point total. I don't know if we've seen a lower total this year, so don't feel like you need to force this one in. Next game here, we have the Detroit Pistons taking on the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix. Pistons, slight favorites here on the road. No Karis LeVert, nothing else really to talk about. Speaking of expensive guards, we got Cade Cunningham in this one. Another pay up with really no ownership going to him. I mean, he played bad against Denver, but 30 minutes against Sacramento had 60 fantasy points. The ceiling's still there for him, especially in a matchup like this. Obviously, going to be running into some Dylan Brooks, Grayson Allen double teams, which is obviously not fun. But the ceiling's there, man. I don't mind getting to some Cade. Decent matchup for Jalen Duren. Those are the only two I really have any interest in, though. This Detroit team is much healthier than they have been, which makes it tough to find any value. But how do you feel about the Pistons?
Yeah, so pretty tough team overall in this big slate here to target. It would be Cade and Duran, like you mentioned, if I was taking stabs at anyone here. Cade would be the priority if I was getting to one. But yeah, kind of a tougher spot with Phoenix in the total here.
Yep, right there with you. On the other side for Phoenix, no Jalen Green, no Devin Booker. Colin Gillespie is questionable. Jordan Goodwin is available. So if Gillespie's out, things get really interesting because we might see Goodwin start again. He was pretty good in that position last time out. Jamari Bouye got enough minutes to be a thing as well with Gillespie out. But assuming he's in, I'm interested in Brooks. I'm interested in Allen. Don't mind mixing in a little bit of Mark Williams. Again, I think we have much better center plays on this slate. But Brooks and Allen, not great guys in real life, but pretty good fantasy plays, all things considered, with Devin Booker off the floor. Both seeing plenty of usage, playing all the minutes they can. But again, Goodwin only if Gillespie's out for me. But if Gillespie's in, he's not a bad play either. But again, another spot where we're kind of waiting on some news. Jayhawk, how do you feel about Phoenix?
Yeah, pretty tough spot here for Phoenix, obviously, going against Detroit. It would be Brooks, maybe some Grayson, like you mentioned, but kind of a tough spot. Would just mainly prioritize those two. You mentioned if Gillespie does miss a game, could look to Goodwin, could look to maybe some Bouye, but just a tougher spot here overall for Phoenix as well.
Yep, right there with you, man. Keep it on that news. But again, not the best spot here for Phoenix without Devin Booker. One more game, we'll knock it out, then we'll get to everyone in chat, guys. Feel free to get your questions in. We will do a dummy build, as always. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Oklahoma City taking on the Timberwolves on the road here. OKC favorite on the road, 228.5 point total. Starting with OKC. No Topic, Sorber, obviously. AJ Mitchell and Caruso are out. Kaysen Wallace is questionable. The good Jalen Williams is going to be out here as well. SGA and Chet both look good, but Hartenstein's back tonight. He's cheap. I don't love the matchup for him, but it is probably going to cut into the upside of someone like Chet a little bit, so just keep that in mind. SGA here, not getting a ton of love, not the best matchup for him, but the ceiling is obviously there if you want to get to him. I'm not really prioritizing him. I don't know. Just don't love the matchup, man. And even with Williams out, like they've been spreading the love. Honestly, where is he? Aaron Wiggins, if he starts, would probably be my favorite OKC play here. I don't know that he will though, unless Wallace is out because Hartenstein is back. So OKC, you can get the SGA, you can mix in some Chat. Not a team I'm really prioritizing. How about you?
Yeah, it's kind of weird, man. SGA, without Jalen Williams with an E, typically his usage rate's been pretty good. He's been kind of struggling the last few games in terms of DFS production. I'm off SGA today. I think we have safer, better spend ups overall. I'm with you. I think it would be Wiggins if I had to play a Thunder here, but it's not a team I love targeting. So give me Wiggins, and that's about it.
Yeah, I will say this about SGA. If you are looking for a reason to play him, last two games against Minnesota on the road, 37 minutes, 59 fantasy points. Game prior to that at home, 36 minutes, 62 fantasy points. He has been playing this team pretty well. But again, he's so expensive tonight, and some of the cheap value is a little bit gross. So if you want to play him, feel free. At the same time, I understand why the field isn't necessarily getting there all that aggressively. Over on the Timberwolves side of things, Rudy Gobert is questionable. That's significant. No Mike Conley. If Rudy's out, Naz Reid probably gets the start at center. Naz obviously a tournament play even with Rudy in, but he'd be super, super appealing here if Rudy is indeed out. Not a great matchup against OKC, but a few extra minutes for him could go a long way. I'm sitting here talking about how SGA has been pretty good in this matchup. When it comes to Ant Edwards, he's been pretty good in this matchup as well, pushing 50 fantasy points the last 2 times these teams met. Don't mind mixing him in, especially at low ownership. Really just whoever starts at center, maybe, and then Edwards. I really don't have a ton of interest in Gobert in this matchup if he's healthy. But again, Naz Reid, if Gobert's out, Edwards either way. That's probably it for me when it comes to Minnesota, though. I will say Bones Highland, probably the backup point guard now with Conley out. I think it's a little bit thin for me to want to get to him here, though. Jayhawk, how do you feel about the Timberwolves?
Yeah, so I'm with you. I think Ant's fine to take stabs at, but the guy I wanted to note here, like you mentioned, is Naz Reid. Historically, he's been pretty good against OKC. Kind of just the guy that getting the ball to when Ant's struggling a little bit. So give me Nas as a flyer, 2%. Outside of that, probably no Dante, no Randall for me in this spot. So just Ant and Reed here for me.
Yep. Yep. And SGA do like to go head to head. Maybe a little bit of correlated late night hammer game stack there if you want it. Giddy expected to be in and out. I think I saw he was ruled out. How many bucks are too many so you don't get bucked? I mean, I trust 3. Probably wouldn't go to 4, Jayhawk. How do you feel about the Bucks? You getting 3 or 4? Is that too many?
I don't think I'd want to go all four of Kuzma, Portis, Rollins, Turner, but I think 3 of those guys is totally fine.
Yep, that's fair. Benjamin here bringing up Fontecchio. It's like a last piece in. I don't think it's crazy. Again, coming off the bench, scoring dependent. Tough to trust him, honestly. Again, Bam, our favorite play in that game. Any love for Fontecchio for you, Jayhawk?
Not today, no. He is a player I like, but not today.
Yep. Rocket, if MPJ fails, won't be for lack of shooting, that's for sure. Diabate, a cash play at that ownership on DK. Usually when a guy's that low owned, you want to avoid playing them in cash. I think he's cheap enough that you could consider it if he's starting. But I don't know, man. It's tough to say he's a good cash play on the back-to-back. They could limit his minutes. I lean no, but as much as I love him in tournaments, I almost want to say yes. Do you have a take on that one, Jayhawk?
Oh man, that's tough. I don't think he's necessarily like if you had to quote him as a cash play, but I think he's a very solid tournament play.
Yeah, like if you're getting away from chalky guys like Gouye, like you could play someone like Diabate. I definitely think he's the higher floor. Giddy's going to be out. Grimes is out. Jalen Smith is in. Not much changing there. George is in for Philly. Yeah, Brooks and Allen are fine, gentlemen, sir. Go Suns. Yeah, Rocket here, Suns fan. We got our man the douche behind the scenes as well. A few Suns fans here, but if you're playing only one of these guys, which would it be, Turner or J Val? I think it's J Val. He's just the most consistent. I know Turner's been playing amazing, but it's still a very small sample size. I don't know if he can keep it up. I wouldn't mind having both if you're playing on DK, but I do think J Val is the safer of the two, especially if you're loading up on Portis, Rollins, maybe Kuzma. Jayhawk, how do you feel about that one, Turner or J Val?
Man, Nick, you're hitting me with tough ones here. I think they're both fantastic. I think you can play them both on DK. But if you made me pick one, probably would be Joval, just because I'm getting a bunch of Portis tonight. So, yeah.
Yep. No additional news here since you guys have fed it to us. Appreciate you. Let's go ahead and get into the dummy builds. Starting on DK, I don't know, man. Let's take a look at ownership real quick. Who is the most popular play? Man, I don't know that I want to prioritize him. It probably kills us if we don't, though. Is he just that guy we kind of have to have?
Well, I mean, and low risk, I think so. I mean, in tournaments, I can see the appeal to get off him, but I'm cool with either one. I don't think he's like.
Yeah, let's put him in for now. See what it gets us. I do think we want some exposure to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think Portis and Rollins are probably the guys there, right?
Yeah, Portis and Rollins for sure.
Yeah. On the other side, I like Trey Johnson as a run back. Is there anything else from Washington you want?
No, I think Trey Johnson's probably the top play there. I was going to mention Kaishan, but I like Trey Johnson a little bit better.
Yeah, Kaishan would be another. You could probably play him at small forward. Anyone else we should be prioritizing here? Is MPJ our guy tonight? Are we playing the narrative?
Yeah, I like MPJ. And then I did want to mention Joval as well. I don't know if he's like a smash play, but he's pretty good.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it gave me Portis at center. Let's get Joval in there. I still want Portis, but I think it looks a little better having Joval at the center. Portis can play forward. 5,600 for a guard and a big. Yeah, Rockets with us. Trey Johnson night, man. Agreed. Let's get it. I think we could fit Diabate. We could fit Miles Turner. Do we want to play two centers? What are your thoughts there?
I think Turner would probably be the more cash game play, but I'd be fine with either one. I think Diabate is a very solid tournament play.
Yeah, let's go Turner, see what we can afford. If not, we can pivot down to Diabate. Just 5,400 for a guard. Where does that land us? And again, we don't even have guys like Terrence Mann. This is kind of a dead range.
Let's try
So maybe
Diabate. Let's see
what's
if we
that?
let's try Diabate and see.
Yeah, let's see what that affords us. And if this
Yeah,
doesn't work, maybe we put Mann in and see what we're getting.
I like it.
Christie with
Yeah,
400 left. I don't hate it. Let's see. This is probably the more logical
yeah.
cash build.
Let's
Going
do
to
it.
Terrence Mann. And then having 7,800 for utility. I'd love to get Bam, but I don't think we
Yeah.
can quite get there. No Vooch for me.
Yeah, that's difficult, man.
It is. Let's put Bam there and then downgrade. I don't know. Would it be Porter? I do like Porter, but just trying to think like the most logical way to build tonight. Maybe that's not getting us there.
We could
If
go.
we do come off Trey, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was saying we could go down Joval to Turner. Would that open us
Yeah,
essentially?
yeah, something like that. I mean, as much as I do like Jovel, something like this, guys. You see where we're at. We're close.
Yeah.
And Rick said he feels Vooch is a better play than Bam. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, with Jalen Smith back, he's definitely been cutting into the upside of Vooch. And also, Bam has been playing the best basketball of the season now that Hero's out. It's a better matchup for him defensively. Bam, the much better defender of those two. I know Khalil Ware is coming back tonight. So again, if you don't want to play Bam, I think it's Turner and Jovel. Like I would definitely have both of them over Vooch.
Yeah.
Now that I'm saying all this, Vooch probably goes off, and then we have 2K to upgrade Man to something if we wanted. But you guys kind of see where we're at. Thoughts on Kevin Herter? Very risky, Jose. If he starts, I don't mind it, but very much boomer bust. And good luck from Rocket. Let's get FanDuel knocked out here. Hey guys, if you are behind the paywall, Smitty going live in the Discord in just 3 minutes. Where are we starting here, man? With the Bucks again?
Yeah, probably the Bucks. Portis. Let's see. Let me pull up FanDuel. Probably Portis.
Rollins is a little more expensive, but
Yeah, probably Mohamed Gay again.
yeah. Oh God.
We didn't get to AJ Green. If we're not getting to Rollins, maybe we get to Green on FanDuel.
I mean, I don't mind it in the first lineup though. I feel like there might be pivots like
Yeah.
Like I think the Phoenix guys we didn't play either of. Like Brooks at his price looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Which pay ups do you like over here?
It's tough on FanDuel because a lot of the spend ups I like Embiid is only one position. Joe Val is only center only, so we kind of have to take a stand.
Embiid.
Yeah, let's throw Embiid in here just because.
Let's fit Embiid since we mentioned him earlier. We could get Porter. Again, 6,300 per. This is a pretty good lineup, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Reed Shepard if Sengun is out. Oh, Schroeder starting. I don't know if they could keep that game close. He's a good value play, though. What else we got going here?
I mean, yes, it's tougher on FanDuel for value. Like, we don't have as much.
If I throw an Ant, we're left with 4,700. Just curious what this looks like. Maybe this is where we're at. Pele. I mean, Middleton coming off the game of his life. We'd have to find 100 for him. I don't know. We're close. Again, I don't know flag. Let's go Rollins. I think he's the chalk. Upgrade Middleton. We're left with 6-2. Osser, absolutely not.
No Osser.
It is tough. I mean, if we go, I guess McCollum with everyone out, if they kept the game close, I'd play over Osser. Again, I'd have to move some things around, honestly. This is a little bit funky as things stand, but
I like it.
You know what it is, guys. We got a lot of options tonight. It's an 8-game slate. A lot of teams are missing players. All the more reason to keep an eye on injury news. All the more reason to get behind the paywall. Get access to the model and Smitty, who is live in the Discord right now. Jayhawk, any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, let's have a great night, man. Let's hope MPJ drops a nuke tonight against his former team.
Yeah, let's see that revenge. And again, if Sengun's out, maybe we get Capella as well. Keep an eye on that one, folks. Take care, everyone. Have fun tonight. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.